We have all had bad days. And we've all had bad days because of our banks. Admit it. We all have a horror story about something that's happened at our bank. Well, let me tell you about my 2007 horror story at Wells Fargo Bank. I'm one of the people that you see on television commercials that had their identity stolen. It is not a pretty picture. One day, I was charging something on my credit card and it was declined because someone else had run up about $12,000 worth of purchases on my card. So I went through the process of dealing with banks and police and all the other crises that you have to deal with. It took a long time, it took a lot of paperwork, but finally I had everything straightened out, I thought. It's a Saturday, I'm driving down South Congress, I go into the drive-through ATM because I'm about ready to meet some friends for lunch and I need cash. I have about 37 cents on me. So I go through the drive-through ATM and I swipe my ATM card and the little message says, "We can't give you money at this time." Well, I swipe it again and it says, "Call the 800 number." Well, I've used ATM cards a lot and I've never gotten the "call the 800 number" message. So I call the 800 number because I need cash because I'm going down to 6th Street for lunch. Call the 800 number and tell her that it's not working, I don't know what's going on with the ATM card. She says, "What's your number?" I read her the ATM number and she says, "Are you reading that off the card or are you doing that from memory?" I know this is not a good sign. I said, "I'm reading it off the card." She said, "Well, this is really weird, but we show no record of that ATM card on your account." And I said, "Listen, I'm going to meet friends in about 30 minutes. I need some cash and I need it now." She said, "Do you have any checks?" And I said, "No, I used my last check." And instead of using the Wells Fargo new check service, which gets you a check in 3 days, I was using checks in the mail, which was cheaper, and hadn't gotten any checks yet. So I didn't have any checks. And so I said, "No, I don't have any checks." So she said, "Listen, go to the branch at the corner of Riverside and South Congress and they'll take care of you. They'll give you a temporary ATM. It'll work for 5 days and you can get some money." So I go down there, Saturday, 10:30, how bad can it be? I walk in and it is packed with people. More people than I've ever seen in a Wells Fargo bank. And they are primarily Hispanic. And I discover that this is the main branch in Austin for Wells Fargo where Mexican nationals send money back to Mexico. So there's a zillion people, everyone speaks Spanish, even the staff is speaking Spanish. I'm having a little bit of a hyperventilation here. I go in and there's this young man who looks like he's about 22 sitting at a desk and he's by himself and everyone else is dealing with these other people and there's this guy by himself. So I told him my problem and he said, "No problem, I'll pull your card for you." And little Doogie Howser, and he goes up to the computer and he says, "Wow, this is really amazing. The number's not in the account." And I said, "I know, I've heard this before." And he shows me the screen. And on the screen at Wells Fargo, it shows every single credit card and every single ATM card I've ever had for 12 years. And when it was sent out, when I activated it, I mean, everything was there. But not this card. The card was scratched up. I mean, this was my ATM card I've been using for a long time. I was so bored while he was trying to fix this problem that I even reached over and filled out one of those stupid sweepstakes forms that you see at the bank. And you know what? I won the sweepstakes. Wells Fargo Bank sent me and 3 of my friends to Pasadena, California for 4 days and 3 nights, all expenses paid, and we rode in the Wells Fargo stagecoach in the Rose Parade. They took us to the Equestrian Center, and we got to ride the horses and get our pictures. There's a picture of me going, yeehaw, on top of one of the horses. Unbeknownst to me, two of the girlfriends that I invited are such Rose Parade junkies. They videotape it each year and watch it over and over again. And when we drove by the HGTV film stand, they started screaming and had to get their pictures next to the HGTV. At one point, one of us had a pain in our rib on the trip and said, I think I have something on my rib, I've done something. And one of the other ladies said, well, my rib really hurts too. And finally we discovered that all of us had pains in our ribs because we had been laughing so hard and so long for 3 solid, fabulous days in Pasadena, California, that we all had sore ribs. Well, think about it. If I hadn't had problems with my ATM card, I would never have been in the bank. If I hadn't had a problem with my ATM card, I never would have filled out the sweepstakes form. A bad situation not only turned good, it turned great. So I'm not saying there's a silver lining in every single thing that happens. But if you don't look for the silver lining, you'll never find it. So the next time something really bad happens to you, you can either crawl home, call in sick the next day, or go into work hungover. Or you can try and look on the bright side. Shoulders back, eyes ahead, looking for that next great thing.